Let's look at this sequences question. A manufacturer makes necklaces in various sizes. The smallest size has a single link which is made up of 1 ring and 4 beads. The next size looks like this. So here's our first one, here's our second one. So we're asked to do 3 things. Draw the next size in the sequence, complete this table to show how the pattern is built up, and then write down a formula for finding the number of beads if you know the number of rings. So let's start with the next size in the sequence. So here we have 1 ring for the first one. The second one we have 2 rings. So the third one, nice sketch, we'll have 3 rings, obviously not drawn very well. That middle one's a bit weird. So 3 rings, and on each of them, they will have some beads. So we have 3 rings for the next one, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 beads. So this helps us answer our next start of the table. So here, if we had 1 ring in the diagram, we had 4 beads. Then we had 2 rings, and we had 7 beads. Now we've just drawn 3 rings, and we have 10 beads. So what would I have if I had 4 rings? Well, we can look at the pattern here. So we're going up in 3 every time. So I'm adding 3 to this. So this next one will be 13 if we add 3. And then we're going to add 3 again, and we're going to have 16. And then we can keep going. So let's take a look down here. So if we had our rings and our beads, right, if we had 6 rings, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we want to get to 13. So we can just extend the table as one option to work this out. So if 5 rings was 16 beads, then 6 rings, we're going to add 3 to this, so that will be 19. Then we're going to add 3 again, 22, add 3. We just keep adding 3 each time. Now remember, if you need, you can use your calculator for this as well. So what we're doing is we're just adding 3. So we've got 22 plus 3, add 3. We want to add 3. This one's 31. Add 3, 34. Add 3, 37. Add 3 again, and we get 40. So when we have 13 rings, we have 40 beads in this necklace. So the next part, or the last part, we want to write down a formula for finding the number of beads if you know the number of rings. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in part of our table here. So we had 5 was 16. I'm going to skip a few. So I'm going to put in so this was our rings and our beads. This is our 1, 2, and 3, just because I'm running out of space. So we had 4, 7, and 10. So here, when we're looking at this, well, in order for us to find our beads, so we're trying to get beads equals, move this a bit. Now we know that we got to take the rule, so we are going up in 3 every time. So we're going up in 3 every time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this 3 and we're going to multiply it by the number of rings. 3 multiplied by the number of rings. Now when we're looking at that, Let's do a little test. Let's move this out of the way. So if I take 3 and multiply it by the number of rings 1, I get 3. But my answer for beads was actually 4. If I take 3 and multiply it by the number of rings, which is 3, I get 9. But my answer was actually 10. Let's do another one. If I take 3 and multiply it by the number of rings that we have 6. So I get, in total, 18. But my actual answer was 19. So you have to think, well, after I'm multiplying by this rule here, how am I getting from 3 to 4? From 9 to 10, and from 18 to 19. What's happening? Well, each time I have to add 1 on, and you'll notice there's a pattern to this. So I'm adding 1 every time. So I need to add 1 to my formula. So write down a formula to find the number of beads if you know the number of rings. Well, if we simplify this a bit, B equals 3R plus 1. This is your formula.